This episode of Movieology is made possible by Patriot Depot.
Based on a true story, We Bought a Zoo tells the story of an adventure writer who buys a rundown zoo in hopes of making a fresh start after the untimely death of his wife. Facing enormous odds, Benjamin Mee and his two children, along with a small but loyal staff, work to get the zoo reopened. We Bought a Zoo stars Matt Damon, Scarlett Johansson, and Thomas Hayden Church. It was directed by Cameron Crowe. Hello and welcome to Movieology. I'm Eric Rauch, your guest host. I've been a fan of Cameron Crowe ever since I first saw Say Anything 20 years ago. Crowe has a way of making films that connect with real people, but without using fake emotional tricks or long drawn-out sequences of sappy people saying sappy things to trigger emotions. Cameron Crowe well understands people, and it shows in his approach to filmmaking. Similar to his other films, We Bought a Zoo seems to begin in Chapter 2, and the story unfolds through dialogue. The first 10 minutes seem somewhat disjointed and thrown together, but it all becomes clear before long. Now, if you recall, I said earlier that Ben, who's played by Matt Damon, is an adventure writer. As in all of Crowe's films, occupations play a big part in the storyline. Crowe understands that what a man does for a large portion of his time each day will affect how he sees the world. Benjamin Mee viewed the world as an adventure waiting to be found until his precious wife Katherine died, which left Benjamin to care for their two children. Thinking his adventure days were over, Benjamin closes himself off from the world and turns in on his own family. After Ben quits his writing job and begins looking for a new house, he finds the ideal home that he has envisioned to start over. When he is told that the house is actually part of the grounds of a has-been zoo and cannot be rezoned, Ben begins to believe that this may be the new adventure for which he has been waiting. Despite strong advice to the contrary by his accountant brother, Ben takes the plunge and buys the house, zoo and all. The interplay between Ben and his brother Duncan, who's brilliantly played by Thomas Hayden Church, becomes one of the primary themes of the film. Ben, the adventurer, couldn't be any more opposite to Duncan, the accountant. Ben views life as a spontaneous thrill ride, while Duncan views life as calculated and formulaic. If Duncan can't make it work on paper, he won't attempt it in life. Of course, the zoo purchase does not make sense on paper, and Duncan is firmly opposed to his brother taking this obvious financial risk. These diametric views of life become a major point of tension in the story as Duncan tries to force his calculating opinions upon Ben. In truth, this tension is also a major theme of the New Testament. Jesus tells his disciples to count the cost numerous times during his ministry. Jesus also warns his followers that every decision comes with a price tag and that this should not be taken lightly. However, this is not the entire story, because even the rich young ruler counted the cost, yet chose poorly. On paper, forsaking everything in order to follow Jesus does not make sense. When the calculating is through, there is still a measure of faith that must be exercised. A similar theme that emerges in We Bought a Zoo is one of death and life. The death of Katherine obviously plays a huge part in the story, but her life is almost never addressed until an extremely poignant moment in the film. Sitting on the kitchen floor with a laptop, Benjamin begins to scroll through painful images of happy memories he has been unable to face. One by one, the images create a movie of their own, reminding Benjamin of the life that he and Katherine shared. This emotional moment serves as the turning point of the film as Benjamin realizes that dwelling on Katherine's death is robbing himself and his children of any meaningful future. In 3 tear-soaked minutes, Benjamin lets Katherine die in order that he may live. Her death becomes his resurrection, and he begins to understand that dying is as much a part of life as living. In much the same way, Spar, a 17-year-old Bengal tiger, was once a major feature of the zoo, but has now become as run down as the zoo itself. In many ways, Spar is the metaphor of this entire film. He is, in fact, a tangible reminder of Katherine. The staff has been adamant that it is time to put Spar down, but Benjamin will hear nothing of it. He refuses to let Spar go in much the same way he refuses to let Katherine go. However, once he has his kitchen floor epiphany about his wife, he knows immediately what must be done with his tiger. And like Katherine, Spar becomes a resurrection of sorts. Spar's death is symbolic of the zoo's past, while his face literally becomes the symbol of the new days of the zoo to come. I give We Bought a Zoo 4 stars out of 5. Cameron Crowe has an uncommon ability to relate profound and deeply emotional truths through the simple medium of photography, but he also understands the power of images, and he understands the necessity of words. And I think he balances these two better than any other director currently working in Hollywood. I know I'm already anxiously awaiting his next film, even if it takes another 6 years. Now we'd like to hear from you. Do you think after a success story like Mee's that buying a zoo is an example of entrepreneurship worthy of consideration? Had you even heard of We Bought a Zoo before this review? I asked because it fell under the hype for the holiday blockbuster films. Please share your thoughts in a comment. You can also watch more reviews at Movieology.tv, the source for worldview enthusiast news, reviews, and discussion of all things film.
For decades, liberals have been stealing conservative values, claiming to be the political party of compassion. Ironically, liberal solutions are only generous by using other people's hard-earned money, furthering financial slavery by keeping people in debt and entitlements. Conservatives have the real and lasting solutions, which are clearly explained in Right Wing Handbook, Demolishing 10 Lies of the Left. Visit PatriotDepot.com today to purchase your copy and use coupon code DIEHARD1 to get 25% off everything in their store.
Please share your comments or your thoughts and with a comment.
Let's start there and share your thoughts.
Okay, now I was kind of like playing with my fingernail
That's okay.
because I just started reading and I forgot that I was on camera.
Do you want to start over?
Yeah.